Okay, so let's do the top detail that I couldn't solve in the last video. It's quite straightforward. If you go to one of the sections of the GYM, if you select it, we do have those connections, but the top constraint is set to top of Parapet GYM, so you can make it actually connected. Apply, and now you can freely move these elements down and up only that layer. The same goes to the other side. By the way, it's never late to start cleaning your levels, so things are a bit cleaner, so they don't bother drawing. You select this one, you make it again unconnected, so you can take down this layer to the bottom of the slab. Actually, this is the slab, and this one goes to the top of the parapet. Okay. So obviously, as you can see, that the roof of the GYM doesn't go all the way, so there's a little of working out that difference. So what I would do is a DI dimensioning from here, tab to there is 10 and 1/8. Okay. So I can select the roof, edit. I go to the GYM roof here, and I say offset, if I remember, 10 and 1/8. So and outwards. Say OK. Like, say no. And let's double check that the sections are looking good. Okay, that is perfectly. I think it was 9. Somebody said 10. It was 10, not 9. Who did that? Who said that? In trouble. Oh, you said 5/8? No, but it's 10 and 1/8. Okay. No, it's 10 and 1/8. GYM roof. So now it's actually 1 foot, 1 inch. No copy outwards. Say OK. Say no, because we don't want to change anything. We go to the section, and that's perfect connection. Okay, good. Okay, reveals and profiles. Okay, so this is quite straightforward. Let's go to the 3D. I'm going to do mainly this in 3D. You can go to architecture, and when it says wall, you can include wall sweeps and reveals. Okay, sweeps, you can think about it as adding material to your walls in multiple ways, or reveals is somehow subtracting material. So I'm going to do a reveal, for example, now. And normally I would recommend duplicating every reveal. So you say reveal, for example, brick wall 1. You say, okay, you need a profile. Profile is the section of that reveal. So you can say, for example, 3 bricks or 2 bricks. And you see how it draws this on the wall only. You cannot go, for example, somewhere else. You have to go to the wall. You can place it freely for now, but before you continue and you escape this, continue on and place reveals around and around. Okay, if you escape now, it really makes a little cut there, and it has the shape of 3 bricks. I can scroll on top of it and I see the reveal I can select, but it's actually like a void or like a shaft that removes material from the facade. Okay. Obviously, this dimension should be in relationship to the dimension of the brick. No? But what I'm going to do is actually go to that section that we've been working, checking that this is your reveal, and you can actually move the reveal to accommodate it to whatever you want it to be. For example, at the end of the window detail, and you can copy reveals like 2 feet and another 2 feet, for example. Okay, you can obviously select it and move them as you go. Every reveal has this consequence. For example, here, I don't think it's that good that it doesn't continue in the top. So we can actually, for example, delete this reveal with no problem. No. two rebuilds. One of them is in the bottom of that one. Let's do now the top of the parapet detail, this little element, or this one, or both actually. So I'm going to go to wall, sweep, again aggregates elements. I will normally always duplicate and call it top of or parapet detail, say OK, and you need a profile. Again, it's set to default, and you have different caps. That is called. This is the parapet cap. I'm going to set the 14 inches, and I'm going to make it actually of a specific material. It's going to be a concrete precast. You do it before, and you bring in this entire piece. You say OK, and you see how it specs that blue line. I don't know if you see it, and it plays a parapet. You can select, and before again escaping, continue, so it connects those properly. So here's the thing, sometimes going to happen this to you, like you see how it doesn't do the curve. I'm going to delete it and try again. Normally it should do that connection if you do it properly. Interesting. I think if you try in your project, it should give you that angle with no problem. Let's see if I move this slightly. There you go. So you can move those ending points. If you select the parapet, you have those points there. You can move them to the corner so it creates that fillet detail. Okay, nice. I'm going to do the other brick one here on top just to give another example. You can do a sweep. You can edit the type and duplicate, and you can call it detail, actually two, or brick. Say OK. You change, for example, to a brick detail. Brick solder, of course, one brick or two bricks. Obviously, you need to change the material to brick. Say solder, of course. Say OK. Again, you can place it right on top of the door, and you can select it and actually move these points freely, so you control the boundaries of that sweep. No? It doesn't have to go all the way from beginning to end. You can control again the limits of it. Okay, good. Okay, this is a rebuild issue also that we're going to use in the columns. Okay, so I'm going to go to the top view here and the first floor composite. Actually, well, in our case we actually don't have to do it, but imagine this column was inserted. You can do a rebuild of your own and do as I do in the lecture. So this is great because we don't have to solve this problem ourselves, since the wall is separated from the column. No big deal there. No? Does that make sense? But I think it's a good lesson I will talk about in Wednesdays. What if you want your own type of rebuild? Okay, let's say like a funky one. I'm going to do it in the 3D. I'm going to create a funky, like not rebuild, but a funky sweep. So I'm going to go and say sweep. I'm going to say edit type, duplicate it. I'm going to call it not brick, but my own, as in weird, something different. And I want a profile here of my own. I want to create my own profile. You know, I don't like the pre-caps, the parapet caps, or the wall sweeps that I've been given. I want to do my own. So for now, I'm going to just say OK. I'm going to escape that because I need to create a family of a sweep. So the way you do it is new, family, and you need to go to profiles. You have several profiles. You have rebuild if you want to do a rebuild, and you have actually sweeps. Profiles. Say open. Okay, and what you normally do is draw lines in this rebuild. Let's say something, again, quite crazy. We obviously should know the scale is quite probably big, but you save it. You have to take this one with you, which is something like an XREF, and let's call it a profile 1, or let's call it my own. and you load it into the project. So once you load it into the project, when you create a sweep and you select the one we duplicated, my own, you can go to the edit type and select from the profiles the one we just loaded, my own. And guess what? It's a crazy monster. Okay. You can even stand it and it will actually connect freely. Now this could be a cantilever, it could be the interior detail of a ceiling. You can create your own sweeps, your own rebuilds. It's just that for rebuilds it will be new, family. You will go to profiles, rebuild instead. Rebuilds tell you, hey, be careful, the wall is in this side. So you can create lines as long as it's a close element. Has to be close, because what basically does is a sweep, basically an extrusion. No? If it's not close, it's not going to work. You save it, you call it profile, for example, rebuild my own, and you load it into the project. You say, where do you want it? I want it into the projects, class 7. Okay, go to the 3D. I can go and say, give me a rebuild, a new rebuild, and I can say, hey, let's duplicate this one. Let's create not a brick wall, but a rebuild my own. That way, the profile could be changed to not profile my own, should be here, rebuild my own. Let's place it on top here and here. I'm escaping, and this is actually the only way to get this crazy kind of rebuilds or digging into the wall type of detail. So I encourage that for you guys to use one specific rebuild. Again, we don't have to solve what the lecture says here because our columns are outside of the wall itself. Imagine you had a column inserted in the wall, like the case that we had actually last semester. Well, you can create rebuilds so it digs into the wall from the opposite side and liberates the column entirely. It is not related to the wall. We did that here and we did it here just to rebuild that piece, but we again don't need to do it. So choose level 2 floor layout to accommodate new stair. There's going to be a crazy stair here in the bottom. That's where I'm going to pretty much stop in regards to the gym. So we accommodate the second floor. We have to actually cut it here and here and create railings for that. Okay, I'm going to go to the second floor. And this is the floor itself. By the way, if we go to the section, we might need to change something or not. No, it's actually quite perfect. No? Great. So you select the floor, so edit boundary, create lines, and we're going to take here from this very point in the center of that partition, go all the way down from the center of this partition. Let's go here as well. Actually, we could move it to the exterior face of the partition and move to the exterior face of that partition. If I say okay, that's not going to be possible, so I'm going to split this line. I'm going to trim TR, and I'm going to create another line connecting these two guys now. Okay, now it's perfectly close. Say okay. We say no now because we don't want to shift things around. That's going to be a nice flooring, and the last thing will be the railing. You can select whatever type of railing you want. Say pipe, and you draw your railing along that floor that we just created. You probably wanted to like duplicate these ones here. Let me finish that. But it's actually, instead of doing a mirror now of this line, it's better to say yes. Select the mirror, the railing, and do mirror. Select the axis so it comes there as well. If I create a camera here, we're going to be able to see how the stair and every other element appears properly here. Let's see. Okay, so that's the railing I did, and here we're going to place the stair in a second.